So, my proposal for Hotel Generation 2019 is exploring the theme home by thinking about collective memory and environmental effects on individual bodies and how technology really influences collective memory and it can really affect the body and how we store and how we perceive information. When I came up with my proposal for Airbite, so ideas of social freedom relating to home and how the media influences our memories and perceptions of home, and how this can be particularly applicable for people who are not in their homes and are in a different society away from home. So I'm thinking about how our physical bodies can become online avatars and how we sort of project ourselves in online identity, and how this is actually becoming more real with VR. We are now becoming the avatars in physical space. So our entire way of being in the world is affected by security, technology, and data streams. My work is underpinned by influences of visual anthropology and social anthropology. So I'm thinking about how 3D characters, immersive projection environments, and VR can be used to create feelings of empathy, first person, and to explore memory in a digital context. So I'm thinking about how we can actually feel like we are in a place when we interact with VR. We can feel like we're seeing somebody's home or seeing something in first person, and we can really feel like we are anywhere in the world or anywhere in a made up world, in an imaginary world. Um, and how it might feel for somebody that's not ourselves to be in that world and be experiencing that world. So, my other medium will be sculpture and explore how people and individuals create attachments to home through material and geography and through materiality of objects. Um, I'm also going to be exploring language and sound as another element of my proposal. So I'm going to be using sound design and exploration of symbols in the project. I recently watched a sci-fi film called Arrival that was really influential to me because it was a sci-fi concept not based around the idea of just simply the human trying to communicate to the aliens. It was a sort of a exchange of translation, an exchange of language, and so that's something that I found really interesting. So I'm going to be translating human voices into alien sort of sounds that will be created using filters of sound and creating spectral sounds and using pitch to sort of shift in response to voices of people who interact with the installation. Um, I'm really interested in interactive installations and being able to um, see process and for people to be involved in that process. So, um, for example, just using their voice and speaking. I do feel like there's quite a big scope for sci-fi and imagination when exploring home, and so, for example, visible cloaks, they have their own sort of language. They are a musical duo and they use a lot of their own language within their composition. So I think it's a way for an individual to explore their own style whilst including other people, um, and perhaps whilst including people's opinions and maybe masking these and not making their ideas or their own sort of experiences so visible. And this is quite important when you're thinking about working with or discussing ideas of home with groups of people, for example, refugees or migrants who might not want to be fully visible in someone's work. And I think this is a big flaw with a lot of visual anthropology and visual anthropology documentaries. There's no way of actually trying to mask the participant in a lot of what I've seen. And I think that digital 3D animation and trying to uh, put the voices of collectives into one body might be a really effective way of doing this, because home ultimately isn't one thing to one person. Home is many things to many people,